Picture this. You're at brunch on a Sunday, somewhere loud and overlit, and your friend leans across the avocado toast and says, completely casually, that she and her partner had a conversation about opening things up. And the table goes quiet for exactly 1 second. Just 1 second before someone changes the subject. Nobody says what they're actually thinking, which is, wait, can you do that? Is that allowed? And underneath that, have I ever actually chosen this? Or did I just assume it was the only option on the menu? I had a version of this moment myself, sitting in a coffee shop, working through a stack of relationship psychology books, and realizing I had never once questioned a structure I'd been building my entire adult life inside. I just assumed the blueprint was a given. Turns out it's a default setting, and defaults can be examined. Here's the thing, a lot of intelligent, thoughtful people who question everything from their career path to which app tracks their sleep, have never actually interrogated the architecture of how they connect with other humans. Not because they're lazy, because the structure is almost invisible. It's the water we swim in. We're not here to say monogamy is wrong. We're here to find what the standard framing leaves out, and why that gap matters more than you'd think. And to understand that gap, we need to go back to where the blueprint actually came from. Here's what most people assume about monogamy. It's natural. It's what humans evolved to do, and that assumption comes from somewhere real. There is biology involved. The problem is that the original research got radically simplified on its way to becoming conventional wisdom. The actual science is messier and way more interesting. Anthropologists who study pair bonding across human history find that the story looks less like a universal law and more like a patchwork. Roughly 85% of recorded human societies have permitted some form of polygyny. Strict lifetime monogamy is, historically speaking, a minority practice. And even where it appears, it's often more of a social contract than a spontaneous biological drive. Then there's the neuroscience. The brain systems involved in long-term attachment, oxytocin, vasopressin, dopamine, don't have a built-in one-partner-only switch. What they do have is a built-in novelty response, a familiarity response, and a stability response. These three are in genuine tension with each other, and the way you navigate that tension is where things get personal. So the myth isn't that monogamy is bad. The myth is that it's the biological default, neutral, natural, requiring no thought. The real picture is, it's one strategy among several that humans have used across history and cultures to solve a genuinely hard problem. It works well for a lot of people. It works poorly for some. And for a significant number of people, it works, but not for the reasons they think. The original research got turned into a tidy story. That's not a conspiracy. That's just how cultural transmission works. Complexity gets rounded down to something you can put on a greeting card. Now that we know where the default came from, let's look at what happens when an analytical mind tries to live inside it without ever examining the code. Situation 1. The jealousy that doesn't make sense. You've been with someone you trust completely, solid relationship, good communication, and then your partner mentions, casually, in passing, that they had lunch with someone attractive from work. Nothing happened. Nothing was going to happen. And yet, something fires in your chest anyway. What you were told. This is love. This is the proof that you care. Guard it. What actually happened? Your brain triggered a loss aversion circuit, the same one that makes you irrationally angry when someone takes your parking spot. It's not a measurement of love. It's a threat detection system that evolved to protect resource investment, and it cannot tell the difference between a real threat and a hypothetical one. The mechanism. Jealousy is adaptive in environments where losing a partner meant genuine reproductive and survival risk. Your brain inherited that system. It did not get the memo that you live in a one-bedroom apartment with a separate income and a very good therapist. Your brain isn't broken. It's running old code on new hardware. Situation 2. The conversation nobody has. Most couples have detailed conversations about where to live, how to handle money, whether to have kids. Almost no couples have a conversation about what kind of relationship structure actually fits them. They just slide into the default and assume it goes without saying. What you were told. If you love each other, you'll figure it out. The love does the work. What actually happened? Two people with different attachment styles, different histories, and different definitions of closeness started building something without agreeing on the blueprints. They assumed the word relationship meant the same thing to both of them. It didn't. The mechanism. We treat relationship structure the way we treat grammar. We absorb it implicitly, without ever being taught the rules explicitly, and then we're confused when someone else learned different ones. Therapists call this the invisible contract. the assumptions both partners carry that were never actually negotiated. Your relationship isn't broken, it's operating on an unread contract. Situation 3. The intellectual who can't stop analyzing. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcasts, you understand the theory, attachment styles, relationship anarchy, ethical non-monogamy, love languages. You can describe the whole landscape, and you're still not sure what you actually want, what you were told. More information will eventually produce clarity. What actually happened? You discovered that this particular question, what kind of love structure actually fits me, doesn't respond well to more data. It responds to something slower, more uncomfortable, more honest. The mechanism. Intelligence is extremely good at generating compelling arguments for any position, which means a smart person can construct an airtight case for staying, and an airtight case for changing, and an airtight case for doing nothing. The brain's analytical capacity, unchecked, turns into a very sophisticated stalling mechanism. Your mind isn't confused. It's avoiding a question that can't be answered with more information. And if more information isn't the answer, what is? Here's what the research actually suggests. The refined version of this isn't abandon monogamy, or embrace it, or choose your structure and commit. The refined version is the structure isn't the decision, the conversation is. Here's the specific shift. Instead of asking, is monogamy right for me? Which is a question your brain can debate indefinitely, try asking, what am I actually trying to build with another person? What do I need to feel secure? What do I need to feel alive? And are those two things currently in the same structure? Research on relationship satisfaction consistently finds that the couples who do best, across every structure, monogamous or otherwise, share one thing. They talked about it explicitly. They treated the architecture of their relationship as something that required design, not just assumption. You can do this without an agenda, not to open your relationship, not to defend your current one, just to have the conversation you've probably been avoiding because it felt too big to start. Try this. Sit with the question, not to answer it tonight, but to notice what comes up. What do you feel when you imagine a different kind of structure? Relief? Fear? Curiosity? Don't analyze it, just notice. That noticing is data. Let's land this. Monogamy isn't a trap, and it isn't a myth. It's a design choice that most of us inherited without realizing we could have a conversation about it. The people who are most at peace with their relationship structure, whatever it looks like, didn't get there by reading more or thinking harder. They got there by being honest about what they actually need, even when that honesty was inconvenient. Monogamy isn't the problem. The absence of the conversation is. Final question, and this one is worth sitting with. What would you want your relationship to look like if you designed it yourself, from scratch, instead of inheriting it?